Under orders, and they're away. A mile and a half in front of them, and uphill for the first half. It is Crystal Hearted, Benny the Dip and Forest who are the first three to show. Up on the outside, we've got Simmons in, Bold Demand, holding a wide stall, and then Single Empire just in behind this. At this stage, the favourite midfield, and it's Crystal Hearted that shows the way. In second place, Musal Sal and Bold Demand, Simmons in the inside. Forest not that far away, Benny the Dip holds a good position, and the favourite Entrepreneur in behind them. Pat Heddery on, Silver Patriarch sits in about 7th or 8th place. Single Empire and Papua towards the back as they make their way through the first 3 furlongs, and it's Crystal Hearted and Benny the Dip sitting 1 and 2. Bold Demand, the blue jacket, the inside, Stripe Cap, the outer is Forest, then Single Empire, followed by Cloudings and Simmons in, and then we have Musal Sal. Just a length behind these on the outside is Single Empire, Romanoff with a run. Entrepreneur on the outside of the pack at this stage. The Flying Silver Patriarch are towards the back, and they're through the first half mile. At the top of the hill then, in Crystal Hearted, Tony McGlone in his first derby leads to Benny the Dip in second, and Bold Demand, the all blue, the inside of on the outside Forest, and then we have Single Empire. Simmons in the inside of Musal Sal and Cloudings and Papua. Entrepreneur just being pushed along a little bit. The fly out the back is going to be played for speed. So too Silver Patriarch, and Romanoff is towards the back as they begin the descent, and they're past the halfway stage. The 6-4 on favourite Entrepreneur is 4th from last at this stage as they make the descent to Tattenham Corner. 5 furlongs to go in the Vodafone Derby. Still Crystal Hearted has it. To Bold Demand, the inside of Benny the Dip, and a little bit of scrimmaging there. Entrepreneur on the outside of the field is still 5th last. The fly is being played late, and they continue the descent round Tattenham Corner, and it's Benny the Dip who commits and goes on. To Crystal Hearted in second. Entrepreneur, the favourites, on the wide outside. In behind Cloudings is down the straight to come, and it's Benny the Dip in the lead. To Forest in second. Bold Demand in third. Here comes Entrepreneur, the outside of Simmons in. Crystal Hearted is crawling up. Silver Patriarch under pressure, but Benny the Dip is clear by 4 lengths and a quarter of a mile to go in the Vodafone Derby. 2 in second place, Forest, Silver Patriarch. Entrepreneur, the odds-on favourite, will not be winning from that position, but it's Benny the Dip, clear by about 5. 2 in second place, Silver Patriarch, who's eating up ground. Into third goes Romanoff. Entrepreneur only 4th, and Pat Heddery on Silver Patriarch, putting in a power finish. Giant strides, the great dip. Benny the Dip holds it up the line. It's on the run. A photo, Benny the Dip and Silver Patriarch. To Romanoff in third, then Entrepreneur only 4th, followed by the Fly and Forest, and behind these came Simmons in, and behind Simmons in Musal Sal. Bold Demand beats Clouding, Single Empire, Crystal Hearted, and last of all was Papua, the rank outsider. And so this, the 218th Vodafone Derby, has gone to a photo. And a very close call indeed between, on the right, Benny the Dip in the colours of Mr. Landon Knight. On the far side, that white jacket, has John Gosden lifted his first derby and only his 4th ride in the race for 32-year-old Willie Ryan? Has he repelled the late thrust of number 10, Silver Patriarch, in the colours of Peter Winfield? This one trained by John Dunlop, and 45-year-old Pat Heddery in his 25th derby. The outcome is a photo to the Vodafone Derby. A close call to boot. Third horse home was Romanoff. What a disappointment for Entrepreneur.
What a wonderful finish to this race. Benny the Dip and Willie Ryan, they certainly they chopped off Crystal Hearted coming round the bend, but he could smell that he had a chance there, Willie Ryan, and he pushed this horse all the way up the straight. And Silver Patriarch was struggling to go to the pace early on, but he was catching this horse hand over fist. I thought he was going to go in win a length. As it was incredibly tight in the end. When they went by, first of all, I thought that the horse on the right, Benny the Dip, had won. When we saw that photo, I wasn't anywhere near as sure. The one thing that you can be certain of, well, there you go, it's certainly not conclusive even from that photo. Maybe the horse this side just a fraction in front of the grey. But Silver Patriarch, it's nailed on for the St. Ledger.
Yeah, but if you had to have a bet, John, you'd say that Benny the Dip has won, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Let's say you had to put a decision down.
Yeah, if you had to put a decision down. And a certain amount of justice if he's prevailed, Benny the Dip, because...
Well, Willie Ryan, do you think you've got it?
Leslie, I don't know, it's very tight.
It's awful, I should be asking, saying fantastic and everything else here at the moment, but what are you feeling?
I don't know yet.
How did the race go? When?
The race is fantastic for me. I just hope to hang on.
Could you hear Pat coming after you?
I could see him.
You could see him. Well, it's taking them some time to do this, folks. Wait.
First, number 1.
Yes, you won the derby.
Second, number 10.
Really well done, Willie.
Third, number 9.
Lovely horse.
About to say a certain amount of justice because Willie Ryan, he's been attached to Henry Cecil's stable for a long time, been a good servant, and he must have felt when Pat Edry gave up the retainer there that he would be the first in line. That job, of course, as everybody knows, went to Kieran Fallon, but he's kept smiling, he's kept working, and I would think that Henry Cecil will be as pleased for Willie Ryan as he could have been if he'd done it himself. As for the favourite, Entrepreneur, well, he got a bump at the start, but never travelled well for a horse that travelled so well in the Guineas. He never travelled well at all this afternoon. He wouldn't have won at a mile, wouldn't have won at any distance.
And inches separate the end of a thrilling race. Willie Ryan on tenterhooks till the result came, and Pat Edry, well, second place, they say, is the first loser, but this horse ran a brilliant race. He was beaten narrowly on El Gran Senor. Pat's had 4 Derby winners himself, John Dunlop 2, but for the owners, they have to feel the disappointment of so near and yet so far. John Gosden, about whom after his Derby near misses, many people said, well, is he any good as a trainer? Well, John has never stopped having winners since then. Shantou broke the British Classic duck, and this will be the sweetest victory of the night.
Applause echoing all round the grandstand, all round Epsom Downs. A hugely popular winner for John Gosden, Benny the Drip. Trained by Willie Ryan, they call him Benny the Drip no longer. His stamina was ebbing away, but he hung on by a short head to win at 11 to 1. Benny the Drip, the runner-up Silver Patriot, the 6 to 1 second favourite. Romanoff was third at 25 to 1, and the fourth, the disappointing Entrepreneur, the 14th odds-on chance to be beaten in a derby, was 6 to 4 on. Third favourite was Benny the Dip, who is following the career of Shirley Heights, who won the Royal Lodge at Royal Ascot, was second at Sandown, won the Derby in 78. John Gosden wins the Derby. Benny the Dip, 11 to 1.
Willie Ryan last rode in the Derby and ended up in the ambulance. He comes back to the most coveted circle in the whole world of racing. Benny the Dip just backs away from it. He doesn't know the true awesomeness of this moment, a moment for Willie Ryan and the rest of them to go into racing history.
Willie Ryan's giving kisses to everybody. What was that like? Terrific.
None. I'll talk to you later.
Let's have a talk to John Gosden, and congratulations. Tears in those eyes yet? Or
no, not at all. I'm not an overly emotional person. When you win think you've won the Derby and it gets snatched off you in the last 10 yards, you learn to be pretty hard inside.
Tell us first of all, why did you pick Willie?
Because Willie is a good friend, and he's a very positive rider. The choice was Gary Hines, Tony Garr, who won his first race on him, and Willie. And the owner and I discussed the matter, and Willie had ridden in 3 derbies. And I do feel that it is a daunting experience for any jockey, and we felt we'd go for someone who'd been there and knocked around in the ring before.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite important in life. When you've been knocked about and had a few scars, sometimes it's a better way. And Gary Hine and Tony are great men who ride for me all the time, ride work, ride this horse, but we went for Willie because it was a question of experience.
It was a marvellous and a brave decision, John. Tell us about the horse's owner. He can't be here, Mr. Leonard Knight.
And Mr. Knight is at home in Ohio, and I hope he's sort of flying right now. And his wife is here and her great friend. And it is tremendous because he's only sends me one horse sometimes a year, always out of the same mare, and his mother of this horse is now dead. She died of old age, nothing unfortunate like that. And it's just a wonderful moment for them all because he bred this horse, and he actually got me to go and look at him in a paddock. He's going to sell him in the sales, and he said, Gosden, go and look at that horse. And I turned around at the airport, did a U-turn, went back, missed my plane, looked at the horse, said, I love him. He said, he'll sell well. I said, yeah, he'll sell well in the sales. You really love him? I said, I really love him. He said, then you can have him.
What a story. That's the one play you didn't mind missing.
No.
Now, tell us about the horse. I mean, he's a real professional, isn't he?
He's a thorough professional. He's a very excitable horse, and he got very, very excited coming down to the races today. Possibly was the thought he was going to be involved again in a race. He won a Dante well. He got very, very bouncy in the box, kicking, and said, I want to get on with the race now. But I told him we don't run the race at 10 o'clock in the morning. We run it at nearly 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He settled down, and I think possibly that experience settled him. Because to saddle, he was the calmest I've ever saddled him, and he was the most calm in preliminaries. And he is what you might call a somewhat hyper-neurotic creature.
Do you worry when people call him Benny the Drip?
No, I don't,
No.
because he's a free sweater, and I've met a lot of people in life who are very clever at making deals in the markets or deals in any way of life who are free sweaters, so I don't mind that. If that's their nature, behave with your nature.
And what's it like for you? You haven't saddled your
it's
first
nice.
static success last
Yeah,
year,
it's
the
a great
Ledger,
moment,
now
and
the
it's
Derby.
particularly for my father, who trained Charlatan as a 2-year-old and stood here and watched him win the Derby through ill health and died very soon afterwards. So, quite frankly, this one's for my father.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so near yet so far. 1.5 miles the distance, but millimetres. What a judge that Silver Patriarch is just a footnote in racing history. He's second. Here's the full list.
Here's the full starting prices. First number 1, Benny the Dip at 11 to 1. Second number 6, Silver Patriarch at 6 to 1. Third number 9, Romanov at 25 to 1. The totes there, the win paid £8.90. Places 230,